Election day. It'll be interesting either way. Yeah. So I thought I was gonna be working, but I ended up not having the stain I needed. Oh, excuse me. Oh, these videos on here are gonna be a lot more informal, even more so, or even less informal is what I mean to say, than my videos on Facebook, which is apparently the entirety of my campaign for Honolulu mayor. So it's just kind of funny. But anyway, yeah. As to me being on here and talking about different things that I don't on Facebook, it's like, okay, this will be of relevance only whenever that happens to be, because right now it just looks how it looks. So, yeah, let me sit up at least. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. Today's decided. He's told me the end from the beginning. When I say he, I mean God, Almighty God above. But again, to say the things that I've said without evidence, without actual evidence, other than things that just mean everything to me, in way of sermons, in way of signs and wonders, rainbows and white doves and such, that just are too perfectly timed, that kind of thing. It's like, okay, if I pointed it out to somebody else, it wouldn't mean anything to them. But for me, it's like, okay, I needed that rainbow right then. The coincidence of me listening to certain sermons and what they're talking about, I'm doing. You know, there's a reference in the Bible that will be exactly what I'm doing at that moment, and it'll be dealing with the emotion that I'm feeling right at that second. You know, so it's like, okay, that's not by chance. Meeting people, discussions, conversations. It's like, okay, God is speaking through these people. I just was thinking about that, and now we're talking about it, and I don't even know you. Those kind of things. So anyway, when I talk about all these things, it's like without context, it just looks like rambling and it looks like mental illness. But what I'm talking about for those that stumble upon this video is today is the day of the election for a position that I didn't really even want, which is Honolulu mayor, as I've said. So I'm just waiting for that to be proven, that it is actually God that led me to do this, not some midlife crisis that started from a divorce. And then after that is proven, in 8 years I run for president and I win that. And then amidst all that, Hawaiian sovereignty comes to be. So it's like, okay, dude, that's a lot to digest. That's a claim and a half on top of a claim. Oh yeah, and then the wife that wants nothing to do with you is going to come back to you. And then you're going to get twin boys that God promised you. Okay, man, you know, I feel like Noah, and it's just starting to rain now, but yeah, it's like, okay, Micah, speak to this, work on this campaign. Didn't look like a campaign. March around Jericho, yell, talk about all this stuff out loud. You know, it's like, okay, like even that reference didn't make sense to it's not even in order, but anyway, it's like, okay, dude, that's mental illness. That's what that looks like. And then now, this kind of completes the look a little bit. Went too dark on the beard, but anyway, it'll be proven. It'll be seen and shown for what it is, which is not my idea. I'm just walking in faith and obedience to what God has told me to do as best as I understand Him, and He is so much more than my understanding. But it's just confusing, trying, depressing at times, and I go back and forth. I run the gamut, the full spectrum, if you will. I'm on the spectrum a little bit. But anyway, it's like the pendulum just swings from joy to depression. And I think it was Samuel in the Old Testament that had depression at times. And Paul also had the messenger of Satan, which was a demon that didn't possess him necessarily, but it oppressed him, definitely. So It says I was given a thorn in my side to buffet me, which is like to keep me humble. So, like, okay, when you have a schizophrenic that is saying they're hearing voices and such, it's like, okay, that's a demon that's, messing with you. And it's like the old caricature, the cartoon where you have the demon on this shoulder and you have the angel on this one, and you have your conscience and what you know to be right and wrong and all that. But some of these leadings from the Holy Spirit, it's like, okay, I know this is not Micah's idea. This is not my idea. And even the thought, it's like, okay, I don't even know if this is my thought or if this is a confusing spirit. If this is God directing me to do something, doesn't make sense completely. And then when you start talking with that about different ones, it's like, all right, this dude is mixed up beyond mixed up. But to say, as I said before, confidently, or at least what looks confidently. I mean, he gives me strength to say it and strength to believe it and walk in obedience to it. But you feel how you feel without evidence when you say stuff like, yeah, I don't have a campaign, but I win running for Honolulu mayor, and then that's going to shoot me into a position where I can run for president in 8 years, and then I win that. Oh yeah, and then Hawaiian sovereignty. Oh yeah, and then with that, the people make you they make you their king. It's like, all right, dude. Yeah, you might want to keep that one to yourself. And then the wife that wants nothing to do with you is going to come back to you. You're going to be the wisest man in history, second to Solomon, and the richest man in history, second to Solomon. Like, all right, dude, okay. Yeah, I'm smiling, but I don't believe you at all. It's how people, family anyway. It's just like, okay, this is all a meltdown from a divorce. That's what it looks like completely. I understand that. I know completely what it looks like. It's like, okay, this is delusion. We love you. We want to get you tested. We want to have you committed. So anyway, it's like, okay, I'm alone in this, as it should be, because I don't need to be depending on your opinion or depending on what you think God is or isn't, because you don't know. And all I've said is that I don't know either, but I want to know. I want to understand him more fully. I want to follow him more fully, more obediently, quicker than I do, or haven't, whichever is right. But it's like, okay, to say all this without evidence beyond anything that means something to you, it'd be like, I don't know, whoever the hell would be watching this video, but it's like you trying to convince people to fall in love with your wife by telling them what it was that made you fall for them. It's like, oh, it's just the way that she, I don't know, slurps her soup, or it's like, that's not gonna, it doesn't connect to you. And I'm not saying that's how it is with the relationship with God. It's not, but it's just what means something to you isn't going to mean something to anybody else. And to fall in love or to be loved by is just not going to connect in the same way until it's personal. So in trying to explain that, all this other stuff that I just went into with mayor and president and king, and wise is this, rich is that, the wife that doesn't want you, it's like, okay, dude, like, how are you doing? Or certain pastors will ask, like, how much sleep do you get? It's like, okay, well, I thought you were the one that was going to have the second half of the prophecy that you gave me, that kind of kick-started all this stuff as far as me not knowing about it, because all you said was, and this is going 13 years back, talking about ministry, online ministry, and then leadership. It's like, it's kind of vague. So you don't know what that is in reference to. You wouldn't either. But when all this stuff happened with my wife, it's just, it got brought back up again. I remembered that. So online ministry is apparently getting and running a Facebook site, which is a / campaign as well, that talks just about my, just as much about my ideas as mayor in a position that I didn't want and ask for. And then I talk also about God and my understanding or lack of understanding about him. I was like, okay, like when you, pastor, spoke this over my life, when I went to you and asking for prayer because I thought I got a girl pregnant. And you start talking about this online ministry just with that. Like I had MySpace, so I don't know what, and I can tell you what I use MySpace for. It's kind of the same thing that I went to you for, talk to you about with the crisis that I was having to hook up with girls. And then leadership is like, okay, that could mean anything. That could mean anything. Who says politics specifically? But apparently it was politics. But anyway, just waiting for the closure of the polls today. And apparently I'm going to be in a pretty good mood after all that. Apparently, hopefully anyway, not apparently. Not hopefully. It sounds like doubt. I don't know when, is what I'm trying to say. I don't know when it happens. I don't know how it happens. I just know it does. And just faith, blind faith, and obedience. But not apparently, not hopefully. But at some point, my wife and I start talking again. And I get to see her. And I'm very much looking forward to that. And I'd be lying if I was saying I wasn't anxious to smash. But anyway, 10 months. And I'm a big guy. I got a healthy sex drive. But anyway, I don't know why I'm talking about that. Why am I sharing that with you? I don't even know your name. I don't even know you. You don't even know me. Anyway, I want to see my wife. I want to tell her everything that I've been through. And I have enough evidence after today to say, hey, I told you I was going to be mayor. You're trying to get me to sign the divorce papers. I instead told you after I win mayor, maybe let's talk. Well, I won mayor, so can we talk? And then this is all the other stuff that happens from and subsequently since or along with is what I mean. So do you really want me to sign this? Do you really want to be free of this? What is it that I actually was guilty of? And I have an idea when it comes to the divorce, but I wasn't deserving of a divorce. I wasn't. But, yeah. I mean, who does this? Who talks about this stuff on a campaign they didn't want to run? Goes on Facebook Live, puts all their business out there, makes a YouTube channel to talk about dysfunction, or what looks like dysfunction. Yeah, and then wants the wife that doesn't want them when they could have anything that they want. It looks a lot like delusion, but anyway, it's just favor, undue, which is always what favor is. It's just undue, at least when it comes from God. Man has their favoritism, and a lot of times it's just selfish. It's like, okay, I favor you because you affirm me in this way. When it comes to God, it's like he didn't need anything from us. He doesn't get anything from us necessarily, not in the way that we would think. But it's the best thing for us in us stepping in obedience to what he's telling us to do, and he gives you grace, which is a gift. It is a gift. And then favor is just that. It's an allowance. It's a gift. It's equipping you for something. And that is so that his will be done through you, because God works in so many ways beyond our understanding, but he works through people as well. He can come down in a pillar of smoke and fire, but he works through people because it grows them in the ways that they need to be grown, and then he gets the glory, because it's like, as with me, it's like this idiot, this dude, he shouldn't be mayor. He shouldn't be president. His wife shouldn't come back to him. There was nothing wrong with me, really. There was some stuff I could get better on in way of romance. But yeah, as a husband, there wasn't anything necessarily wrong with me. But the wife that left comes back. He didn't deserve that. But anyway, that comes to be. So, I don't know. Anyway, just, yeah, just on here as I am always, and just waiting for tonight. So after that, life will change. So these slow moments, and that's kind of what this past week has been. Like, I've had a slow week of work. And he's saying basically, like, after all this stuff comes to be, and I know you're anxious for it, Micah, but after it comes to be, your life will never be the same again. Like, the downtimes, the slow days, it's never going to happen again. At least not while you're mayor or running for president. So there's 8 years basically that I have, 4 years of which will be mayor. After that, those 4 years, I guess I could do on just about anything I want. So I want to do movies, direct, I think would be fun, clothing line, different businesses, construction, like a bunch of different dreams that he's given me. So as to a slow day, it's like, okay, I don't know, maybe I go into business for a little while and then I go and run for president. It's like, all right, it's between me and you, God. Who knows what is in store? Apparently we're not going to have the times just for the rest of this year, specifically next month, if that prophecy is true that I heard from that one guy. The rest of the year is not too pretty, but what happens with the state, what happens with the country and all that, it's like, only God knows all that. And if I'm being honest and direct, I am honest, I'll just be direct. I'm pretty concerned with what goes on in my life day to day as it is with all this stuff I have going on. So I feel like Noah. Hey, go build an ark. It's like, why? What's an ark? Oh, it's going to rain. Well, what's an ark? And what is rain? Oh, it's going to flood. Wait, what? What is an ark? What's rain? And what is a flood? And why do I have to build this thing? It's like, okay, run for mayor. Why? Because you're going to win. What? How? You're not going to have a campaign. You're going to talk on Facebook about stuff and share videos that make no sense. And we're going to have inside jokes that make no sense to anybody else. Obviously, that's how inside jokes work. But yeah, you talk a little bit about me, and then you talk a little bit about the ideas that I give you. And then there's a whole lot of randomness in between all that. And I want you to speak in authority on things that you have not been given yet. I want you to speak in confidence in a way that I haven't provided yet for you, which is a knowing in what I'm talking about. So a lot of times that was just before I started talking about it. It's like, I don't even know what I'm talking about here. And then, just download. And it's like, okay, this idea is not mine. All these different ways of running and administering and implementing this idea is not mine. So there's something to this. God, I know this idea comes from on high. Thank you. So yeah, it's interesting. It's stressful. It has been anyway. But 2 weeks ago, he asked me, how do you want me to do this? I was like, you know what? I really don't care. Like, I trust you. However best you see, go for it. So I was like, do you want me to end it in the primary or do you want to go to the general? I said, I really don't care. I really don't care. So 2 weeks ago, he tells me, hey, it doesn't go to the general. You're going to win in a landslide victory. Of 15 candidates, you haven't put out one bit of literature. You had one radio interview, and you did have one thing with the Star Advertiser. And then there was a video that you did with Olelo that you couldn't even see anybody. It was supposed to be a Zoom or a teleconference, but instead you just looking into the pinhole of a camera, and you couldn't even see yourself on that. So who knows how you looked on that? But it's like, okay, he just needs your faith and obedience. He'll take the 2 fish and 5 loaves and he'll multiply it. So it's like, I don't know what effect this had on the population. The voter block, it may not be that anybody really even heard it. And in those interviews, specifically the radio one, I talked about pillow fights twice. So it's like you're not even being taken seriously as a candidate. I know the guy that was emceeing the thing, running the interview, kind of looked at me like, who are you and why are you doing this to me? Why do I have to sit through this? You're not even taking it seriously, man. It's like, okay, like this is not my idea to run for mayor. If I want to talk about some dumb idea or joke, I'm going to, because I don't come into this with an ambition. I don't come into this. I take it seriously when I want to. And then after tomorrow, I guess I have to. It's nothing but work from then on. And he's telling me yes and no. But yeah. Anyway, tonight. So I'm just enjoying my time of leisure. I think I'm trying to think of what the reference is. I think it's Moses after he parted the Red Sea, or God parted the Red Sea, and Moses administered or sat in, played the part, raised his hand, and God did it. But something to the effect of stand still and see the salvation of, or the enemies that you see today, you will see no longer. And it's just talking about like stand still, meaning like don't work for it, don't, just be at ease. So it's like, okay, I feel like I should be doing way more than I am. I'm not holding signs. I'm not talking with people. I'm not even turning in the interviews that I'm supposed to right now, or questionnaires. There's ones that I didn't get to. He says, I don't want you to be concerned with those. They can have all the time in the world, or basically an entire day in person, rather than you answering a questionnaire after. Because it doesn't go to the general, so there's going to be all this time in between where you can learn and actually have these people ask you these questions that you don't have answers to right now, but that I'm going to give you answers to, Micah. Okay, all right. When I pray, God, grow my faith. What does he do? He gives you the instance for it. It's the same thing like patience. God, make me more patient. What does he do? He sends you a whole bunch of family members or a whole bunch of people that you don't want to deal with, that are hard to forgive. I guess I keep talking about it. I didn't feel like I had an issue with it, but I guess I do. God, help me with that. Apparently I'm bitter. I don't want to be. Take it from me, and I know you will. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. I give it to you. So anyway, yeah, just hanging out in a house that's not mine, in a room that I'm borrowing. I live down there in a little grass shack, basically. It's a little broom closet of a place. And built that 15 years ago. No, 13 years ago. It was the year I got back. 13 years ago, so yeah. But up here has reception. And this iPhone I can't unlock because my wife took me off the plan. So it's a new phone that has a great camera that only gets reception in here, because the other phone that I have is a cheap ass phone. And that's temporary because I'm waiting for all this to be so that I can talk with my wife and then get back with her if she'll have me. And why wouldn't she? After mayorship, and then telling her I run for president and I'll win that too. And then I'm the richest man in the world at some point, currently, or will be, and all this other stuff. But it's like, okay, dude, you have a cheap ass phone. You have another phone that you can't even unlock, that you do the majority of your campaigning from. That only allows you to do it from like 2 rooms in the house, because you don't have Wi-Fi, because your phone's not connected. It's like, all right, you pray for miracles, you're going to see them. You pray for joy and humor, you're going to get it, but you're going to cry in between. You pray, God, humble me, and he's going to do it. To God be the glory, all of it. Break me, break my life down, wreck my life, and make it what you want it to be. I ask and pray, and I know you will, because you've done it before, and I thank you for it, Lord, and I ask and pray and know that you're going to perform in that way. But with that, I know, Lord, that this is for a purpose, that I will be better for it in the end, and help me in the times in between, the waiting, when it doesn't make sense. Thank you again and again for all that you're doing. Break my heart and give me yours, in your name, amen. Yeah. So it'll be interesting at a minimum. I think it's interesting. And then yeah, after all this stuff comes to be, it's like, okay, like, um, yeah, how much it changes? I guess everything changes overnight almost. And it doesn't make sense, but it's like it's been proven that he's in this. Not to anyone other than me, but tonight, tonight. But you know how that sounds insane. So it's just fun, but it's also it's heaven and hell at the same time. You experience both. So anyway, I'll end it with that. It was 25 minutes.